Speaking of hiring and firing, so I worked for you for probably about 6 months
Yes.
at a part-time capacity, and you're the only person that ever had to let me go. You made a redundancy. You were changing the business direction. How do you approach hard decisions as a leader in business?
I think what I've learned over time, like I would often overanalyze, procrastinate on things like that. But I've learned over the years, it is that you have to make to make the call. And when it comes to people, it's that whole, high, slow, fire, fast. Like that is true. And I've seen that with many clients. I've seen that in my own business. So I think something I've trained myself to do is just to make that hard decision, make that call. Hard to pinpoint how that's happened, probably through a number of lessons of where I've held on to someone longer than I needed to, or made that and realizing the cost of that, or seeing that in other businesses. Sometimes it's like you shared on earlier, sometimes having that outside point of view where my coach has seen it, or I can see as a coach, hang on, what this person is toxic to your business. What are you doing? And I think that has translated to me, and then what I bring to my clients is because I can see those things now because I've seen it in so many businesses. And it's never hard, but the other side is always better. That's what I've sort of told myself.
Yeah. Well, I remember walking away from that meeting afterwards and thinking, wow, that would have been a hard conversation to have, because in that particular situation, it was simply, hey, the business direction's changing. We no longer need your skill set. As much as you've done a great job, it doesn't make any sense financially. We're closing down this arm of the business. We're going this complete other direction. And I remember the way you handled it, it left me feeling very well cared for, because I know you really sort of looked for, how can I help you get a step from here? How can I help find you another position? In that case there, you actually helped introduce me to a whole bunch of your clients who needed some marketing assistance, and it really kind of helped to springboard my next stage in my business as well. I think in those instances, like you say, where you've got those hard conversations, it's also about doing it with a level of compassion and care. And that's something I can definitely see you bring to those moments.
Yes, and there's a couple of things. One is, to me, it's about the integrity of the decision. And so what's the truth? But that was an honest conversation. The business, I wasn't trying to sugarcoat it. It was just like the business is changing directions. That was the reason. That was the legitimate. So let's be upfront with that. And I'm a big believer in treating others as you want to be treated. So if someone's having that conversation with me, how would I want to handle that? Sometimes you're moving someone on because they're a bad apple. I've been fortunate of making some good choices, most of the choices when I've hired people. And so I genuinely want to help them make the transition well and go on to something more important. If this door's closing, what's the next door that can open? And that's happened a number of times over the years. And I think that's just take that attitude and you'll always come out in front. And sometimes it's the break, even the ones that are the harder decisions, sometimes it's the break they needed. Generally, when someone isn't working out, they know it, you know it. But as the leader, you've got to call it. You've got to have that conversation. And as a coach, and I often coach my clients in this as well, it's just ask questions, find out what they're struggling with, find out what they're doing. And usually that's an opening to say, hey, how are you feeling? Or asking questions like, are you happy? That's a big one once I've prodded around a little bit because usually they're not. If they are struggling in terms of performance and not hitting their targets, usually there's some tears, but at least there's now space to have that conversation, which could be a resignation or a transition or training, whatever it might be. But it's really about leading from the front and having those, sometimes difficult but necessary conversations.